It shows people like how to explain, like how to pronounce Huawei and Xiaomi, and because it's a Chinese word and they're trying to use English syllables to pronounce it like properly. It feels so stupid.
This tournament is brought to you by Asus ROG, and finally stand a chance to win the Asus ROG GTA X 11000, the lag-free and low-latency gaming router with one-click mobile boost. And you can get the GTA X 11000 when you sign up for MyRepublic's Gamer Fiber Broadband. So go to myrepublic.net/sggamer that will be myrepublic.net/sg/gamer for more information.
Alright, so, well, looks like here we are. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the MyRepublic Gamer Arena. And for today, it's going to be me, Aris, as well as Jace, who did a wonderful opening for the Asus 11000. And, like you said, if you want to check out more on that, you can always head on down to the website. But before that, we are here for some Mobile Legends Bang Bang, and it's going to be the Indonesia side of the tournament that we're going to have first. We also have the Singapore side that's happening later on. But how are you following this Sunday?
Yeah, to be honest, right, Aris, I feel a little bit lazy today, and I'm pretty sure that all our audience right at home is just probably propping in their own couch right now, just watching the stream, enjoying the professional MLBB games. I'm actually excited for what these players have in store for all of us today, and I bet, Aris, you are too.
Absolutely. Remember, it's a double eliminations bracket. So I think we have the bracket that's going to come up on your screen during rather before the games, just to show you guys what it kind of looks like as of now. Here we go. That is the upper bracket semifinals, which is Remo Petrak against Ask Esports. And then in the lower bracket semifinals, we have Monster Inc. Esports up against Remo Batara. So that is pretty much how it's gonna look like. And we're gonna have the first semifinals, or the upper bracket semifinals, played first, and then we're gonna see how the lower semifinals turn out. But with that being said, I have absolutely no idea who the players are, so I'm really intrigued to find out who they how they play, what kind of draft they're gonna go into, and I'm pretty sure, Jace, you are excited for that.
Yes, definitely. And you know what? Yesterday, I think there is like a free hero that was just released just like yesterday, if I'm not mistaken. So not sure whether they'll be playing this champion right now, because I'm actually, to be honest, this mage is actually very overpowered in my opinion.
Yep, absolutely. And we've talked about the double being in high tier, and I think we will pretty much see it in the other competitions that I've been casting for. We also saw a very similar kind of draft coming up from a lot of the high tier players. I don't think we're strayed too far away from the hyper carry just because of how effective it is, and just compressing the amount of time needed for the marksman to get a majority of the items that they want. So for example, like Carry, who has been who has benefited the most out of all the MMs, right? She kind of builds into the endless better, goes into the golden stuff. I mean, there's some players that still go into Demon Hunter Sword, and they can't understand why. But at the end of the day, it's all there to proc the light whale mark. And I think it's super effective for other MMs as well. So MMs that if you look at Kimi, right, she's not exactly a very physical damage MM. Her build kind of skills on magical damage. She's got to get that glowing wand. She's got to go into the blood wings at the end of the day. She's got the BOD to build for a lot of items that cost a lot of money at the end. But because of the hyper carry meta, she gets them pretty early.
Yes, I agree. And not to forget, you mentioned Carry and Kimi, but Claude is also one of our favorites, especially in this Hyper MM scene. But you know what, ladies and gentlemen, we'll just hold that conversation about Hyper MM while we're hopping into game number 1 of the Indonesian winners semifinals. And do note that this is a best of 1, so they've got to play their best card and basically play the best card forward immediately, and they cannot afford to play a little bit safe. You have those little tips and those pocket strategies that you feel like you want to feel out your opponents, but no, that is totally out of the window. You want your best foot forward in this very matchup right now.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And we're gonna start by having Ask Esports on the blue side, and Jay said, it's a best of one, so there is no second try. And we're gonna see Selena getting banned out. Nutella gonna ban out the Remo. And Nutella, it's a pretty straightforward. You got the smoke bomb, goes into the claw rush, and it's super annoying to deal with because she's basically, we covered this topic before in our other class, right? We talked about the lack of detection in Mobile Legends Bang Bang. Obviously, there is certain ways to go around it, but she's just such an annoying hero to deal with, and I can kind of empathize with all the MMs out there that suffer the effect of Natalia and why Remo Petrarch is like, you know what, we don't want to deal with her. Let's just take her out of the draft.
I like the fact that Remo actually banned Natalia, and the other side we can see that Ask as well banning Selena. These two are very, very early game heroes, so you kind of want to ban it out immediately so that you don't want to get caught off, because you don't want the others, each from the other side, to actually scale off during the early game, because especially this is a best of one. There's no second try. So you know what? Just ban out those early heroes that are super cheesy and annoying at the start. But speaking about cheesy, Aris, your Valer is getting picked by Remo right now.
Oh yeah, I'm hyped up for it because that Valer is gonna, you talked about Selena being that early game hero. Well, Valer is another one of him. You have that burst fireball. You can scale really well with the right amount of team aggression. And if he does have backup, they can actually go for that level 1 invade. He can build into the one hit, I wouldn't say one hit combo, but he himself has a one more combo, right? You go into the burst fireball, you get the flame shot off, and that's like what, triple the slow you needed. And if you get triple stacks on his skills, you get a stun. They follow up the pick with another Kimi pick, so you can obviously see that Remo Petrarch, they want to go for this early game comp, and with the help of the Kaja, once he hits that level 4, once he gets the Divine Judgment online, that is where Remo Petrarch becomes such a dangerous comp. That being said, they need to prevent the side of Ask Esports from being able to scale as quickly as they want to, because they have an early comp, but they are on a timer to a certain extent, because we know once the game goes super late, Kimi is going to drop in terms of efficiency, and that's when problems might start showing up for Remo Petrarch.
Yeah, so I really agree with what you're saying. So right now we're seeing like these two very distinct strategies, I would say. One, Remo currently obviously favoring the early game. They really want to push on the aggression, especially when Kaja goes in with a level 4. They would just want to roam around like those highwaymen bandits, just going around stealing kills left, right, center, so that just to prevent the side of Ask Esports. But you gotta admit, Ask Esports, if they were to pick one of the late game carries, so I would say that Remo Petrarch, they really have to end this game, I would say, within like 7 minutes, or actually 7 to 10 minutes immediately.
Absolutely.
Ask Esports are going to scale out of control, and that is not exactly a best place they want to be.
I think there is still the Uranus that's online, that's available. I wouldn't say not online, but he is constantly online in Mobile Legends. Yeah. So if you play Mobile Legends, he's always there. He's not gonna go offline on you. But Uranus, it's available for the picking. I'm pretty surprised. Okay, so yep, there we have it. Uranus getting picked out. We do see the Aurora coming out because the Farstar was banned. I mean, there are other majors available, but I can kind of see why Ask Esports want to pick up the Aurora. She has a stun, she has cold devastation, a huge AoE CC, but the only issue I have with Aurora as a pick here is how fast-paced the side of Ask Esports draft is. Fast-paced in the sense that they have a lot of bursty combos coming out. They have, the jaw hit with the unstoppable force going into the smart missiles. They're trying to set up ganks with the ejector. They have the Hellcut. They have the crew frost that's going to jump in with the Tyrant's Revenge, falling into Tyrant's Rage. So a lot of bursty heroes, but they pick up an Aurora, which means she needs the time to charge up. So she's only got one shot at pulling the combo off, and she's definitely not as effective in a team fight as compared to Valor. So once she misses that huge wombo combo with the ultimate, she's pretty much done for. So that's my only concern for us esports draft. That being said, MyRepublic, they pick up the Marsha, and I guess in some way they're telling us esports, we don't want to go head to head in a 5v5. We recognize the fact that you have a lot of tanky heroes in the Krufra, as well as the Jawhead and Uranus, and you pick up an Aurora, so you're definitely looking for team fights to happen. And because of that, we're gonna pick up Marsha, and we're just gonna try to split push you when you try to take fights.
I agree, and do note that Ask Esports, they don't have a marksman, so they have to put all their bets on Hellcat right there to act like I would say a secondary Marsha, in my opinion. Like Hellcat and Marsha, they do serve the same niche, split pushing and dueling in 1v1 and all this kind of stuff. But you know what? It's really kind of scary, the fact that Ask Esports, they don't really have a marksman. And like what we said earlier, Remo, they have a very good early composition. Yes, they probably have. I just don't like the fact that they're not very decisive in their judgment. You know what? If we were going to go early game, we have to win early game. So I'm going to have to pick all the early games hero. But instead, they kind of went for the Marsha as well as the Thamus. They kind of they rely on dragging the game a little bit longer, but I would say that what we'll probably be able to see is you have these three, Kaja, Valer, and Akibi just going around, where Stamos have to hold the top lane, Masha hold the bottom lane, or vice versa. Maybe that's the kind of strategy that I'm predicting from them. But on the other side, I don't really see how they're going to do it because they don't have a marksman. It's kind of scary. And there's no pushing power. Do note that they only have Jawhead doesn't push, Aurora doesn't push, Uranus doesn't push. They can probably hold the lane, but Hellcat is the only pushing power. And if Hellcat goes down, there's no pushing power from Ask Esports, and they'll probably have to drag the game even longer. But do know that if they were to drag the game longer, I would feel that the advantage still goes into Ask Esports side. So it's kind of interesting that Ask Esports is kind of, I think they're basically gambling right here, if you ask me.
Well, I do echo some of your points there, and yeah, I do recognize your concern for the draft. I think in terms of pushing power, they do have the Uranus, and Uranus, although doesn't really do much damage DPS wise, he does have a lot of damage over time, right? And if you look at it, he's the kind of hero where he wants to stick on top of his opponents in the 1v1. He's got plenty of regen through consecration. He's got the Ionic Edge, which if you do ignore it, it does do quite a bit of damage as each second goes on. So I guess it's a valid concern, but I'm not too worried about the pushing power coming from Ask Esports. Like I said, their goal is to win team fights. If they win team fights, they're going to be able to push, and I guess in some sense that is Ask Esports strategy. But we are already in the game, 2 minutes 30 seconds, and a little bit of a time travel for us, but Cancel already taking that first to the tower at the top. I told you they don't have to worry about push, but now Krufa coming in time and Rage catches 2 members out, and they get a good cold devastation combo going in. They also get a double kill onto Valor and Kaja. And this is the team fight combo that I was talking about. Aurora taking quite a bit, has to go back, Kun dropping low, YBL is going to be there to fend off the rest of the side of Patrak. And I guess it's a pretty even trade to a certain extent.
I would say that that's not an even trade, because earlier, just now, before we actually jump in, we saw that the kills actually went towards in the favor of Remo's side. But because of that team fight, Ask Esports basically got the gold ahead, and they're now even. So this is actually not looking good for Remo, but right now this is actually anyone's game. Looking at the turret right now, it's kind of even at the same time, and feels like they're actually contesting for a turret that's not even there.
Yeah, I mean, Turtle is really being taken by Remo Patrak, and the only reason why I kind of said that was even because, like you said, Remo was up ahead, they managed to get a good team fight coming on, but now it's sticking right onto the Divine Judgment, onto the Uranus, all the way back into the jungle, and I guess that is pretty much one dead Uranus. The rest of Remo Patrak, they're just sticking up to farm. Jawhead with the ejector into the smart missile, definitely gonna have more damage, but here comes the regen coming out. Molten Sights coming through, and Rich Jaya gonna win that 1v1 against this pesky Jawhead.
Yes, I was actually kind of scared for Thamus a little bit moment. Like, is he gonna win it? Is he gonna win it? He's super low, and then don't forget the Thamus regen. Jawhead must have been like, you know what? I think I can take him on, so I'm just gonna jump in. But no, basically, like Thamus is just left with a quarter of health, and Jawhead just 100 to 0 right there by Thamus.
Absolutely, but now YBL gonna go down for a quick, just for a quick second time. Just kind of regen already came out of the base from dying down the bot lane, so that's not exactly a result that he wants. Kunz dives in with the Tyrant's Revenge, doesn't really catch anyone out. Although Hellcat is kind of forced to use his silence there. Poison Singer, not enough damage, and Kun will go down. No backup from the rest of us esports, and I'm not sure if they actually burned. No, they didn't use the Dark Knight Force. They didn't use the Dark Knight Force, so that is quite a big CC going down for the side of us esports. It's gonna be, and they can't really take a team fight without that. That basically is the driving force behind the team fight. Yes, you have the setup for the Kufra, you have a lot of damage coming out from the Jawhead, you have the sustainability coming up from YBL who's playing on the Uranus. But without without the Dark Knight Force, they have no way of entry when it comes down to a 5-on-5, because there is the threat of the Lure, there's the threat of the Marsha with the burst, there's the threat of Divine Judgment. A lot of I would say counter measures to us esports lineup.
I like the fact that they're going for the Hellcat. It means that Hellcat doesn't have to be in the team fight. He could be somewhere else, actually trying to push the lane. And then when us esports got themselves in a very tight situation, like right now, I guess, he can basically ultimate. Oh, sorry, he's actually with his team. But you know what? He can actually ultimate and kind of save his teammate in a jiffy. And
Yep. Immediately going in at the top, Marsha definitely wanting to take this fight against YBL, but YBL somehow still staying alive. In fact, the two of them are dropping really low. Marsha's gotta use her second life. She does be able to do so. YBL immediately activating the consecration to keep himself up and healthy. But this fight, the longer it lasts, the worse it gets for Doffy, and she's gonna run away. Meanwhile, bottom lane, Aurora dropping really low. Divine Judgment to direct the Jawhead, and this is the lack of the MM that we spoke about. Oh no! Maximum charge coming out from the Kimi, immediately wipes Aurora off the face of the map, and it's down to Kun, Searing Taurus to push him away. They don't even need the Divine Judgment, just the Ring of Order as well as the Burst Fireball to take out the Kufra, and now it's all down to Hellcat. I don't think they can actually stand in more pushes. They should get this tier 2 in the bottom as well as tier 3 in mid. It's a matter of time.
Yes, I really don't like the fact that Kuhaku, the Aurora, still have the ultimate. That's one of their main damage right now. So without that damage, once she's out of the match, Ask Esports have no main damage. So it's really great that Remo Petrov actually aim directly at the Aurora, make sure that she doesn't proc her one more combo, and it feels like this game is definitely going in the favor of Remo Petrov.
Yes, absolutely. And now we're gonna have an ejector coming out. Oh, Tom was a little bit out of position, but somehow still stays alive. Activate this Conrad Inferno at the very last second to make sure he stays in this fight. But now Dark Knight Force will fall, and now nothing, no follow-up. The lack of follow-up coming up from us esports is a little bit of a concern, because they needed the Tyrant Switch comes in, and once again, where is the follow-up? They're just not following with all these huge CCs that they're putting out. They're catching the right targets, but there is just no damage there to follow through into the team fight, and they're just wasting all of these ultimates that they could have used to secure 1 or 2 kills. And speaking of kills, they are the team that definitely needs it more than their opponents.
Yes, and it looks like we're going into a very early game ending, assuming that Remo Petrov actually did not make any careless mistakes like what we see early on just now when we hop into the game. The turtle is already down. This pushes the gold lead. Look at the gold lead, Aris. It's a 11k gold lead. And the NOD going down for Kuhaku, trying to limit that Thamus regen, but I don't think that is enough. They don't really have the damage. They don't really have the follow-up. The Kun actually goes in with a very nice Tyrant's Rage and the jumping going in, but there's no follow-up like what you said. Hellcat is not diving in. The Aurora is staying too far back, I would say, and look at them going in right now.
Yeah, it's just the Kimi sweeping up the rest of the fight. Even if Kun catches like a 3-man rage, there's no Aurora to go for the cold devastation like you speak of. And with that being said, Well, it is a fast game, but you know, I guess us esports, they were a little bit too they underestimated their opponents. So let's just put it that way. They didn't really expect MyRepublic to be that aggressive, but you know, we kind of foresaw that in the draft. We spoke about that early game comp that MyRepublic won. There's a reason why they pick up the Kimi. There's also a reason why they go for the Valor. You know, heroes that don't really need too many items to be effective. And you know, heroes that don't even need their ultimate. You know, you look at Kimi and you look at you know, heroes like the Kaja, you know, heroes, okay, not for Kaja obviously, but you know, the Kimi as well as the Valor. You know, heroes that from level 1 they can take a team fight, they have the range, they have the burst damage, and I guess in some way us esports, they kind of overestimated the fact that they didn't want to go for a marksman.
Yes, I really like what I said. I think whatever prediction that we made in the early game kind of came true, because look at Cancel. The Helker doesn't really have the BO. He's definitely building towards a BOD, but that's a very expensive item with 0.454 death 5 times. It's not really a good spot if you ask me, because Helker is probably one to try to single out enemy carries, just, you know, sting him to death and then run away. But I don't think he actually met his mark, especially in any of the team fights, especially when Remo just sticking together like a bunch of bandits just going around stealing kills, like what I said. It's really an effective strategy if you ask me, Aris.
Yep, and you know, congratulations to MyRepublic. They will proceed into the grand finals, and it's not the end for us esports. It is a double eliminations bracket, so we will see them going into the lower brackets finals. So you know, another chance for them to a certain extent, but we'll see what happens between Monster Inc. Esports and Remo Batara. Before that, you know, want to give once again a big shout out to Isus, and you know, the fact that we are here, you know, on this Sunday to have a competition like this, and it's good for the players, it's good for us, you know, get us out of our lazy beats and shake ourselves up. But with that being said, we'll go for a 10-minute break. When we are back, the lower brackets semi-finals.